So, getting ready to go out on the road here. I always get people asking me, they're always like, man, what are you going to take out for knives and for cutlery and stuff like that? So, I guess because I'm going to be car camping, I have some good knives, I have some bad knives. Soft steel, crappy IKEA knives, nice, like, real soft, but the softer the knife, the easier it is to sharpen, but the more you have to hone it down. I'll take just normal kitchen knives for car camping. I've got a couple different fillet knives, Rappalas. These are always real nice to use. Boning knives for filleting fish, things like that. The problem is when you go out, you'll end up using your different knives for different things just because they're the ones that are laying around. Then of course I've got my buck knives, things like this. And I'm going to show you how we go about like just making the blades a little bit nicer. The carbon steel little knife. And the one thing, never go out without a good axe. And I think I'm gonna just show you how I go about refurbishing this old axe here. They're always nice to have because you can grip them. You know, the center of balance is right about there on the axe. You can actually balance that pretty good. And I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna make this guy a nice axe again. These things come in handy for chopping wood. You can actually carve with them, whittle with them, use them, you know, strike them, put them into the wood, strike the baton on this end of it here. So let's make this guy proud and shiny again. So like I said, first thing, a hatchet is an awesome thing to have with you when you're trying to build fires, you're trying to shave things down, and I like ones that have a nice area where you can rest your hand up underneath the blade like this. And I'm just taking 60 grit sandpaper at this point, and you can see it's starting to get a little bit nice and shiny. Keep working on this a little bit. As we can see with the 60 grit, it's kind of back to looking halfway decent. I'm going to work on this area of the haft. It's kind of got a few potential slivery areas here. Let me take a little sandpaper to that and whip that up a little bit. Okay, so we can see I've now worked it down to a nice 600 grit on there just to get everything looking good. I like to leave a little bit of this stuff on there, a little patina. I've taken and I've sanded down the wooden part here. This part is a little bit of a notch out of there, but it's tight. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook it up and I'm going to show you how to use a file on this. And an axe or a hatchet, depending on which type it is, splitting maul or just a hatchet, is a little bit different sharpening than a standard knife, but I'll show you how we do this. So it's kind of important to know that when you're filing with a mill bastard file or something like that, these files are meant to cut in one direction. And when you have, this is kind of a rusty one, but it should serve the purpose. I'm kind of dealing with what I got here. I'm not living in a situation that has the best workshop right now. But yeah, the files are meant to cut in one direction. So you're going to just kind of take it, and we have a convex type of, meaning it comes and it rounds, because with a hatchet or an axe you want a lot of steel behind it to support that edge. And if you're chopping wood with this, that you can get it down to, you know, you could get it down to 4,000, 6,000 grit sandpaper and get this perfectly good. But within the first few uses chopping wood with it, it's gonna wear that down pretty quick. So you know, I usually like to just get it nice and rounded down to an edge. A knife you want 15 to 22, 23 degrees or something like that. These, we're going to try to round this off. And you're just going to make a bunch of passes until, like gets nice and worn down and shiny. I can tighten this up a little bit. So we can see now that with the file on one side, it's got a nice rounded edge. I'm going to do that to the other side, and then I'm going to take a sharpening stone. I'm going to just kind of, let's get that other side done though first here. Well, now we can see that the other side has been sharpened nice like that. So now you can add a little bit of oil to this, just 2-in-1 or something. I use sometimes just even a little bit of olive oil. Just a dabble to you. Okay. Yeah. And really get each side. Every time you do this, you're going to form burrs off to the other side, and you can feel them. And so that's what the strop is for at the end. If you take a piece of leather and you go back and forth, you can get those burrs off. Let's see how sharp we can get this thing. So now, if you want, you can take like 600 grit. I'm going to use some 600 grit and try to go at that thing. You can go all the way down to, you can go to 4,000. You know, I think hardware store, you're sometimes hard to get past 4,000 grit. But you can get this thing like a razor blade. I'm just going to keep working on it a little bit. So we can see we've got this rubbed down with some nice linseed oil. There's a few notches out of the at the base here, but I don't think it's structural. It doesn't lead up into the, everything's tight in there. We've wiped the blade down. It's nice, very sharp. One of the best tools you can have when you're going off into the woods or on a road trip. You can use it for splitting wood. You can whack that end as it's down with another piece of wood. Use it as a baton. It's also great to use kind of like an ulu. If you get small game, there's not much meat on the feet of small game, squirrels and rabbits, and you can use it as a cleaver to kind of cut things off at the knuckle, dress out your game. Yeah, not perfect, but a lot better than it was, and I think it's ready for the road.